Language must remain civil, and speakers should avoid personal contacts on the council or staff. The speakers should take their name and address. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. A timer will be set, and in the 3 minutes, the speaker will be asked to bring their comment to a close. If there's something else to be said, an opportunity will be made available at the next session to offer citizen comments. Anybody got any comments?
I'm Kenneth Lippert at 6729 Victoria Lane, Lula, Georgia. What's up, y'all? Y'all heard me last month. Hey, if we don't do it this year, that's something to think about next year. Instead of taking from these people, let's give them something. Give them some excitement. I mean, I got a bunch of fireworks out there I would donate. Show them the city is doing something, you know, instead of sitting there not like in the old age days. Change is coming. Let's bring people in here. It's up to y'all if y'all want to do it. We can do it this year, we can do it next year. Whatever y'all got to do to get y'all ducks in a row, I got my ducks in a row. I'm volunteered to give this stuff to Cedar Lula to do it. It's up to y'all if y'all want to do it or not. All right.
Kenny?
Matt Hall, Narramore Way. Can I ask the council for a little more time, because the topics I have to cover are going to take a little while, maybe 5 minutes.
We'll start there and see what happens.
Okay, good deal. Evening. So, been beating this dead horse on these setbacks for a while, and I actually, doing the research, I ended up uncovering a few other things that I've got questions about. One, so we all know, these are the setbacks that y'all amended December 19th. Well, that's the page that was handed to me by Frank. This is the full amendment right here that I had to go get today. While I was looking for that, I was curious about the minutes too. And I found there are none. Not since August of 22. None. Your website has none for 23. So, where are those at? I'd like to have those. Also, while I was looking for the minutes, I came across your YouTube channel. And at the beginning of the YouTube channel, it opens up comments for these ordinance. Then you go straight into an executive session. Well, according to the, what is it? Georgia Code 50-14, I can't get the executive minutes because that's confidentiality or something like that? Yeah, so I can't get that. I can only get public minutes. I want you, what I'm asking to do is you open talks up about this again and make them public so we can see what's going on, so I can have the minutes. The YouTube channel is great. Thank you so much for the YouTube channel, but it's not enough. I want it in writing. I want something I can put my hands on. This has been going on since, what? March of 18? Yeah, March 18th. And we're rolling around 3 months now, and nothing's been done about it. I finally put it on the amendment for July the 7th, so maybe we can finally talk about it. But, you know, I'm just getting tired of coming up here and talking about the exact same thing over and over again. I'm just getting old. You know, I just want to build my building and put all my stuff in it and go about my life. I mean, I've already spent $1,500 on a pad. That's, you know, got to be redone. That's wasted money. The building company's already told me they're not waiting. The concrete that I had lined up, well, I don't know if you know, concrete goes up every day. So the price I had locked in, that's done. That ain't happening. Another thing too I want to touch on is when y'all voted on this, did you list it on your website or any other media outlet? Because according to Georgia Code, you have to. So that's what I'd like an answer on too. And when I was up here getting this ordinance, I asked for the ordinance back when Narramore was created, when construction was began. They didn't have it. They don't know where it's at. Can I continue?
Can make a motion to extend his time for another 3 minutes.
Second.
Thank you.
I know we're not in session, are we? Go slow. Okay, good. Thank you. Go ahead.
So, when I asked for the ordinance for when Narramore was created, they didn't have it. They didn't know where to find it. You know, I'm sure y'all got an archive. I'm sure it's buried somewhere in the archive. We can pull it up and see what the setbacks are. I'm sure y'all are tired of hearing me talk about this. This is getting old. I'm getting tired of talking about it, but I guess I'll end off with this. When somebody's doing anything, building any kind of property, being handed this is 3 pages of a 135-page document. Don't hand me 3 pages. Give me this. Like that's a joke. Like, I'd like to just come together and let's do something about this. This is getting old. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Robert Grizzle, 6400 Narramore Way, Lula. All right, on the same thing matter, well, he was talking about here. And I'm not sure if anybody from the other 2 affected subdivisions have even came in and said anything about this, or if they even know about it. I don't know. But speaking for Narramore and for those other affected subdivisions, this is not, I know it's been put to the city council that y'all gotta jump to go do this, gotta go this, gotta do all these different you don't. Y'all are the city council. This is not asking for a special zoning. This is not asking for anything special except correct the mistake that was made. I get fully why these other agricultural properties were zoned in a different manner. But a developed subdivision with fixed setbacks, when it was developed, should have never been included. Whether it had to create a different agricultural zoning, which should have been done, the setbacks in a developed subdivision should not have been changed because the lots were bought under those pretenses that's were the setbacks. This is not something that is being asked to rezone or give a special zoning to. This is asking for a mistake, an honest mistake, to be corrected. Other than other states being brought in, but oh, well, this was done here and this. Why don't Lula lead the way and be the shining star? Hey, we made a mistake, but we fixed it. We corrected it. Why don't y'all be the one that other states look to say, hey, when that mistake was made and they accidentally, on these big tracts, subdivisions that were developed, not undeveloped, developed with houses on them, got tied up in that, y'all did the right thing. You did the right thing for the citizens of this town. And y'all 5 have the power, along with Mr. Mayor there, to correct it tonight. All it takes is a motion. And going on, y'all have the power to correct it. It don't have to go through all these other channels. It was a mistake. It should have been a separate agricultural zoning for the large tracts of land. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Robert. Anybody else?
Hello. I live on Cobb Street and love my house, love my neighborhood, but my house backs up to Athens Street. And I don't know if you are familiar with the traffic on that street. It's horrendous. And a lot of times at night, you can hear cars out there racing. I mean, honest to goodness, racing. It's dangerous. And I would like to know if there's any way in the world to get a speed bump on that road. Not up closer to the intersection where there's more traffic. But people coming over the hill there, going down Athens Street, they're flying. So if there's any way in the world, please tell me what I need to do to get a speed bump there. Because people are just flying and there's been multiple accidents on that road. I don't want it on down toward the highway because there's no houses or anything there. But my subdivision is right there. There are houses there right at the end. So please, is there any way we can get a speed bump? And what do we need to do? What can I do?
For the record, can we get your name and address, please?
Pat Kilpatrick, and it's 6044 Cobb Street.
Thank you, ma'am. I knew pretty much what, I wasn't sure which one was yours.
Yeah, that's me. But I can't even have my windows open at night because of the traffic and the racing. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Got one more, Bob. Howdy. My name's Michael Davis. I live on 6409 Grove Street. I've been living there for probably about 5 years. I've been constantly working on that property, trying to get it, up to standards with growing city. We're renovating Lula to make it a better city to live in. Okay. There's a house next to mine, the one up towards 2nd Street. The house next to it is dilapidated. The roofs fell in. There's a flock of buzzards that live in it that come out through where the chimney used to be, and they come over and land in my yard, along with rodents and bugs, wasps. It's all coming from that house next door. And I talked to the code enforcement man, Mr. Forster, and he said, well, you'll have to go to one of those meetings, a city meeting, and explain it to them what's going on. And then they'll have to put in a motion for that house to be probably tore down. That's what needs to happen. But it looks bad on the community, and it's drawing lots of rodents and stuff over onto my, where I've cleaned up and worked so hard to fix to make Lula a better city to live in. What's the address on the house you're talking about?
I live in 6409 Grove Street, right across from the church. And then you going up the hill toward Garnett's house. It's the next house on the left. It's just back in the woods. And I went over there one time. I saw something scratching on the roof, and I said, I don't know what that is. And I got over there, and there's a nest of buzzards that live in that old house. And I saw wharf rats in my yard like this, and they're coming from that house over there. It's just a sore to the city. And I was, hoping something might be able to get done about that.
To my knowledge, that has been handled through code enforcement already, but acted on by code enforcement, and I'm not sure what step in the process, because process under our dilapidated structure ordinance and abandoned property ordinance that we have to go through to get to that point. I'm not sure where we are now, but I think it's been addressed already.
Yeah,
If not, we will.
I've been there about 5 years now, and them buzzards are still crawling out the chimney and flying over my house.
We can talk about that later on, please.
Appreciate it, Mayor. Y'all, thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, I was born in 1960, September the 1st, 1960, over on Old Garrison Shoals Road. My daddy owned the property all the way from the church back over to Garrison Hyder's property. So I've been here pretty much all my life. I am a true Lula native. Thank you now.
Found that there, right, didn't you?
Yes, sir. Time is everything.
Anybody else? There'll be a chance to end the meeting. Do this again. Okay. Everybody seen the minutes? Anything wrong with them? It's for April 15th. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Bernie Smith to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Second by Tony Cornett. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. They are approved. They are signed. Yard of the month, this is the blooming yard of the month. Blooming Lula. Blooming Lula.
Make sure we're rolling.
It might have been good tonight, y'all. Frank checking it, did check. But, everybody, this winner this month gets $100 credit on the utility bill, and you're the winners. In District 1, we have 632 Toombs Street. District 2, 5411 Morgan Manor Court. District 3, 6305 Grove Street. District 4, 6565 Open Highway. District 5, 196 Railroad Avenue. That's the list I had. Congratulations, everybody. All right. Next month is a Show U.S. Colors. This is a drawing. What this one is. So, all you do, put some U.S. color, red, white, blue up in the yard. Send a picture to City Hall, enter it, you have a drawing. It'll be held for each district, and each district will get $100 credit, and you go next month. Put your flags up, take a picture. That's what one last year had, one flag in the yard, just one. Because nobody else in it. That's how easy this is. You can't lose. Okay, finance. James, I guess we're back to you, Daniel.
So, I won't bore you to death on the P&Ls because we went over that this last month. I'll just remind you, the bank balances remain pretty constant. Available funds right now. Did you get it?
No, I missed it. But loud.
So you have a balance of $5,334,000 of which, so the council understands, so that's how that they'll have the opportunity soon to make some capital improvements for this next year, so that's off to them with that regard. P&Ls, there's no change on. We wanted to revisit roof replacement tonight. We have two prices, one for $27,275, and that's for a metal roof, and one for $26,210, and that's for an asphalt roof. So what would our recommendation be? We prefer to go with the metal roof, which has some better longevity. The current roof that's at the control building that we're talking about replacing is 13 years old, and yet the asphalt shingles have failed. So it'd be the council's option whether or not they would go forward with that.
What was the number?
Can you repeat the numbers on that?
27,210 and 26,000, basically $100 for the asphalt.
It's $1,000.
Anybody got a opinion on this tonight?
We need to vote on this tonight. This is a voting
Think-
thing.
Recommendation was for the metal roof.
Yes.
Do we know, approximately the use time of the, of the metal roof versus the asphalt roof? The asphalt's probably what, running at 25?
Yeah, so let me say, I think they all lie.
Yeah.
But the example we give you is twofold. We put a metal roof down on the depot, and, 7 years ago now, and we see no depreciation of the roof. And then I'll draw your attention across the street to the police precinct or the sheriff's department precinct. And we're already seeing, you know, the problem with that, with the warping of the shingles and that sort of thing. It just doesn't hold up as long. So would I guarantee, I'll let Joey guarantee that they'll support the warranty of 25 years for the roof.
I know.
I didn't hear you speaking up right away on that.
No, sir, I didn't.
I know I asked,
Most 10 or 30 years.
I think I asked previously, the metal roof that was proposed and being recommended is a standing seam roof.
It is.
Okay. And, yeah, I, you know, given the option between the two, I would certainly support the recommendation of the metal roof versus that, asphalt shingle roof for our wastewater treatment plant control building.
So is that a motion?
I'll make a
You
motion
want to buy the
that,
roof? I think we want to buy
I'll make a motion that we move forward to purchase the, metal roof as recommended, by staff
I'll
for our
second.
wastewater treatment control building.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'll second.
Motion made by Tony and second by Denise to new tin roof on the wastewater treatment plant control building. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Get the roof. Tell David happy birthday.
So the next item is the budget adoption. We'd ask you to take each item independent of each other. The general fund operational budget is proposed to $1,855,098 for both revenue and expenditures. So if the council would like to consider that a motion for adoption.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the general fund at $1,855,098.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Denise, second by Juliet, to adopt the general fund operating budget 1,855,098. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
So the second item we'd ask you to take consideration is under the utility fund of a budget and revenue and expenditures of $1,098,220.
I'll make a motion that we approve that.
I'll second.
Motion made by Juliet, second by Denise, to adopt the utility fund operating budget of $1,098,220. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
So I think that was the hard part, wasn't it?
One of them.
I don't have anything else on finance unless the council has any questions that they want to address tonight in that regard.
I often wonder, if inside my own self, why is no more interested in the budget than there really is. You think supposed to be more interested than they are, but it's just me, I guess. Water and sewer.
So the good news is the plant operation as well. We're actually looking at some issues that may or may not be issues. This is one of those things we always look over our shoulder a little bit. So we're evaluating those. We did talk with Moss Farms with regards to well exploration, and we told you with the hiring of the geologist, if they take them under contract, then that would not require the council to adopt an escrow account policy. So unless we hear otherwise, we'd ask them to go forward on their part. We'll we'll still have some review by our engineers and go forward with that on the exploratory wells. I will report to you that I had a call from the city of Gainesville whether or not they could provide water to the Cedar Creek subdivision on Belton Road at our request, and I explained to them that we had not made that request. So I'm not sure what's going on in that regard, nor were they. That's why they picked up the phone and we had some conversation about it. So they're certainly not interested in coming into our service area, nor are they interested in coming into our city limits. So,
Interesting.
yeah. It was interesting, that's why I brought it up. The next item B, influent pump replacement, so that's one of the main pumps. As you know, we have 3 pumps, and each one of those are redundant in that they can provide the service. However, as I remind the council, those pumps are 13 years old. Each one of them over time has been rebuilt at least once. We came back and looked at new pricing on a replacement pump, because we like to have one on the shelf. And then we looked at the replacement cost and rebuilt price, and cost for new is $16,250 versus rebuilt, by the way, they had the same warranty, for $78. Anyway, long story short, we would certainly recommend the new pump rather than a rebuilt pump. Also, on the rebuilt pump, we might experience some cost for shipping on that, but we'd have to see. I'm still not sure. I've asked them whether or not we have to return the existing pump, and if we would, that would be an additional
That's
cost.
my next question, if we replace the pump,
Yeah,
rebuild
get
it
a
as a
straight
spare,
answer.
keep it as spare.
Yeah.
That was-
Well, and
that was
then,
my next
so-
question.
The pump that we would pull out right now is what we call pump number one. We would pull that out once we got the new pump in, whether it's the rebuilt one or the new one, and we would rebuild that
As a start.
in-house. Yep, so we wouldn't be
And that
shipping
would go,
out.
if we had to turn a pump, to replace a
Right.
pump or
Yeah,
buy.
often there's an exchange, and we have to get an answer from them whether or not there would be. If we just rebuild it, so there's a difference. There's one buying in a box that's new, and there's one buying in a box that's rebuilt. We've rebuilt, as we said, the 3 pumps over a course of time, each one. We would do the same thing if we, with pump number one, we'd pull it out, we'd have it rewired, and then we'd set it on the shelf for future service. So that's not what we're talking about tonight. Tonight, we're talking about just having one on the shelf that's redundant for us. So your call. Or I think you said you pay for that.
Yeah, just go ahead and get that 16,000, go with the deal,
Is that a motion?
make a motion.
Yay, we got one out of Garnet tonight, yay. Anybody gonna second it?
I'll second that.
Motion by Garnet Smith, second by Tony Cornett, for new influent pump replacement for the cost of $16,250. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. All right, James.
All right, so the next item is scheduled for on-site committee. We never did quite nail that down. Juliet, I know you've got your hands full, so
I can do 3 PM on the 27th.
3 PM on the 27th. And that, we know that'll work for Chris, so we're good.
It's on Thursday, won't it?
And if anything changes, just let us know. That's all we've got on that one.
Chris said that worked for him too.
Yeah.
I guess I need to be there too, right?
You will.
6:27 at 3 PM. I'm not here for this one. Okay, streets, Carolina road repair costs.
So Frank has checked with our other vendor, and they're gonna come out. I think they promised you one day this week, but weren't specific. So once we get that, we'll share. I have one of the prices right now. Reluctant to put that out on the street until we get the other price, but, so we'll give you both those prices once we get those.
And this is the one around the railroad track?
Right, this is the one that's out between Athens Street and
On
51.
highway, okay. We'll let you know.
Not an inexpensive venture.
All right, traffic count study.
So we've had some discussion after last week. We're still getting the study done, so hopefully we'll have that. I think they may have been out there today and putting things in the road. That being said, y'all had some other discussion about that. Joey had mentioned to me that y'all had expressed an interest in item C, Joey, is that right? Or no, exhibit C, as far as proposals?
Option C.
Option C, I'm sorry, I'm just using it by the wrong term. So, I'll remind you, we communicated with the railroad and have not gotten a response back yet, and copied others on that, so y'all should have that information. So we're waiting on them to recognize, their responsibility, and of course, the intentions are to set committee meeting up with them as well as the council, as well as, we get all that from me. Let's see, Banks County, Senator Warnock, Senator Ossoff, Federal Railroad Administration, and of course our engineer, and we'll probably have, we'll ask our attorney to be there as well. So in that particular letter, I'll remind you, we propose building the retaining wall. So if we're looking for option C, we can communicate all of those, don't misunderstand me, but I just want to make sure we're sending the right message to the railroad.
They're not responding yet.
No, and I'm not holding my breath, but we know they're in the receipt of the letter. And we have heard from Senator Wallace already.
Okay, Chattanooga Carter Street homes, easements.
We have received one signed easement from the owner of 6121 Carter Street. Had some inquiries from some other property owners who want some more detail about what could happen on their property. And I believe Dennis and Frank are coordinating with their engineers.
And we have a copy of the construction plans now, so we can speak directly to some of their concerns.
Before we go,
We're trying.
all right, Wellness Park.
So, we just need approval to go forward with air conditioning. We think, for the pricing we got, we can certainly do something for a lot less dollars. If you remember, I think the lowest price, Frank, was $2,400, somewhere around that.
Yes.
And then the electrical side of it would be $3,525. We were gonna go forward with that. We'll find a comparable unit that will both heat and cool. We're talking about 8 by 12 buildings, so very small in regards to, it's not worth the expense of paying more for the air conditioner than it was for the entire building, would be my point. So we really don't need any action on the council on that. We'll take that under current budget, and we communicated that with our contractor.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we'll go ahead with the 3,525 electrical.
You're already going to do that, right? Am I correct?
What, no, if you'd approve that amount, we'd be fine.
Oh, I thought you said it needed.
No, we're fine.
You don't
I
need-
just told them that was come down to two.
Second.
I got a motion made by Denise and Julia to go ahead and approve the electrical for the White Cloud Building in Wellness Park. All those say aye.
Aye.
Those say no. Thank you. You got to come down no more.
How are we with sidewalks? Have we got-
So it was interesting you said that. I have some pricing. I want to share that with the street committee
Okay,
about doing so this is what she's talking about. You're talking about the capital side of the streetscape. So I'll share that with the entire council, and then let's sit down and talk with the streets committee, because we're pretty close to being able to put design on that, which would come back next month. You would approve the design, then we could put that out on bid.
T-Splost. Anybody read all that stuff?
Exciting reading.
Anybody got an opinion about it? What do you want to do about it?
Joey?
The proposed agreement meets the legal requirements under the new statute, and your options, as I see it, is whether if you approve it, then the T-Splost would run for 6 years, and if you do not approve it, you become what's known in the new code sections under the law an absent municipality. Then there would be a separate agreement, and you would be entitled to have dispersed to the city based upon your percentage population of the entire municipal population of Hall County. As best I can calculate it for mayor and council, the annual amount would be the same. So it's whether you want to do a 5-year or 6-year, and whether you would want to sign the agreement or deal with whatever other repercussions may come about by declining to sign the agreement.
But if we decline, there's a possibility we might not get any of the funding.
You'll get funding, you have to get funding, you're just in an absent municipality, so then the T-Splosh could only run for 5 years. And the law requires that if you do not sign it, but more than, cities that have more than 50% of the municipal population within the county could still approve an agreement and go forward. So this, frankly, the statute was written because Buford refused to sign the Hall County T-Splosh last time, and all counties had to wait now another year to get it back on the docket. So the law is written now in a way where one municipality cannot effectively block a T-Splosh or substantially change the terms of the agreement. But it would change it from a 6-year to a 5-year. And that specific agreement has not been provided to us, wouldn't be provided to us because Hall County, and I presume Gainesville, but Hall County and the governments that have 50% or more of the population would sign a separate agreement. And that separate agreement must contain a provision that allows distribution to the cities based upon your population, which is really what the 6-year provides as well, or attempts to.
So I'll remind the council, you're not actually endorsing the T-Splosh as you are
Or
allowing.
you just said,
Well, you're certainly, if it passes by referendum, and I think that's the key, you leave it up to the people to decide whether or not that serves their best interest. And if they choose to do that, then there's definition to how much money the city of Lula would be entitled to. So that's the bigger question. Do we want to leave that in the hands of your constituents? It's interesting. We were trying to get an answer out of our friends at Buford whether or not they were going to go forward with it, and it appears they will. So, ironically.
So we need a motion.
need something?
Okay. I make a motion that we go ahead and sign the referendum.
I'll second that.
Actually, it's IGA, it's intergovernmental. board.
IGA for the referendum.
Sorry.
It's all in the bill, House, it's referendum in November, it's the vote. I got a motion by Tony, Denise, and second by Tony, to accept the IGA, goes T-Splosh for Hall County. All opposed say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Probably not sign this, yeah, we wish it came to, we know exactly where I need to sign it. Planning, zoning proposed changes for the Silver City Council. Process is underway, and we just got scheduled when to do it. That's your list of modifications.
Have you got any dates yet? You want to meet together? So,
I've been waiting for comments. I've not gotten comment from either group. I know the planning commission wants to talk about it
Right.
again at their regular meeting next month. So they can actually give you some proposed.
Items. The de-annexations that were tabled from last month. I'm gonna start with the sergeants first. You know,
Yeah, I was gonna ask if the council would consider, I'd like to make a motion that we move to executive session for a brief discussion regarding this particular topic, item 9, de-annexation, both parties. Both A and B, as is listed on our agenda, for the Griffin properties as well as the Sargent property.
so that, would that be based on potential litigation? Because that would be what the law would require. You need to identify it in your motion.
So I'm identifying that I would like to move to executive session so that council can have a discussion before coming out and making a decision on the de-annexation.
No, the reason for the executive session has to be either personnel, opposition litigation, or
No. Yeah.
what's the other one, Joey?
He's reading the list.
Okay.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we move to executive session for the specific stated purpose of consultation with legal counsel pertaining to pending or potential litigation settlement claims, administrative actions, or other judicial actions brought by or against the city or an officer or employee, or in which the city or an officer or employee may be directly involved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion made by Tony, second by Juliet to go into executive session. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're in executive session. We'll be back. We're probably gonna make some decisions during this, but we got some meeting up for anyway, so y'all just hang around. Thank all y'all hanging around with us. We're back in session now, so give me your attention, please.
I'll make a motion that we come out of executive session, back into regular session.
Go ahead.
We did that back.
Put it back.
All right.
Now, we're having a serious discussion during executive session about the DNA stations, and I still want to do the subject of the DNA station first, if that's okay with council. You know, gonna vote about that.
Motion allowed to annex.
Motion by Chris Llewellyn,
I'll second.
second by Tom Cornett, to allow for the annexation of subject property. All those say aye.
Aye.
All those say no. Now, the other one's a little more difficult. Now, I'll let Tony take it from here.
All right. So, not a fun decision to be making. It's not something that we take lightly. I do need to make a statement before we proceed with voting on the de-annexation of the parcels. I will state that we've decided to, of 9 parcels plus a 10th parcel, there's actually 10 parcels that we want to consider. We are actually going to vote on each one of them, one by one, on their own. And the reason for that is because we have, as previously discussed in some of the items in tonight's meeting, we have a situation where we are trying to preserve one of the options in order to repair Railroad Avenue, which is crumbling and is a public safety issue. We know that our objective here on council, of all council, is not to utilize or have to take any of those properties or easements of those properties, not take the easements of the properties to put a road on. We want to fix the road as is, where it is now. That would require us, with option C as discussed, to get permission from the railroad, Norfolk Southern, so that we can build a retaining wall that allows us to widen that road so that we can make an appropriate repair so that it won't continue to crumble. And I want to keep this definition short, but I want you to know that, again, these decisions were not made lightly, but we do need to have a option C, which was another road that goes around some of these properties, and we would need to be able to still move forward with that, and that's why we're having to consider each one of these parcels independently.
Mr. Attorney, when we have an opportunity to speak,
Counsel, the attorney has requested the opportunity to speak, and Mr. Dickerson has been in communication.
We had no opportunity at all for work session.
They're asking for an opportunity to be heard. I know of no specific requirement under the code, but they have been in communication with me and with counsel throughout the process.
Come on, Mr. Dickerson.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your courtesy. I just want to make sure I have certain things noted and then make sure I mention a thing or two. I understand, I'm being respectful, I understand where you're headed. First of all, I want to make sure that these proceedings are being recorded. Is that correct?
They are.
So
Audio and video.
Yes.
Thank you. I want to make sure that if I have these sequence of events correctly, in May, we filed this petition to the city, and we were told at the May session that you wanted to table it so you could analyze the constitutional issue that we raised. Is that correct?
Well, not just constitutional issues, but also to review the various engineering studies that have been provided regarding improvements to Railroad Avenue and remedies available for council.
Sure, okay. Now, as I understand, the study was done by your engineer in 2020. Is that right?
He did an initial evaluation of the road in 2020 and then presented council with a variety of options and frankly added to those options even at a special called work session where an additional option was added. So we received the report in 2020, but the options presented to council have continued for the past 4 years.
And when was that work session? Additional.
The specific date, it was the work session where Mr. Griffin mentioned that one additional option that he recommended council consider was to put a stoplight at each end of the rough patch of the road and make it one way in that section.
And that would have been within this calendar year.
Yes, sir.
Am I correct on the record to reflect that at the work session last week that we attended, there was no conversation whatsoever about this project? Zero. Is that correct? You weren't here. David Burrows was here, but I think that's correct. No conversation at all. So there was no discussion about this project at the work session that we attended last week. So that's 2 sessions. There's been no discussion at all about the project other than a brief comment from me 3 weeks ago when you said you would take it and postpone the hearing until tonight. Just a couple of things. If you're predicating a decision at all about this on the basis of public health, safety, and welfare, I'm curious, do you have any evidence to support a public safety issue? I haven't heard any evidence, and I think we're entitled to hear that if you're going to make a decision. I believe you'll find that in the last 20 years and maybe longer, there have been 2 automobile wrecks on this piece of property. I could be mistaken, but I'd like you to take that as factual evidence. There have been 2, and they were not very serious injuries. They both had to do with driver error. When I read this engineering report, I'm concerned. It was done in 2020, and Joy, you've enlightened me and said they furnished you some additional information. If you look at the statute, and this is the point I tried to make earlier, when you read the statute, it is obvious that the legislature wanted to say to all of the folks, we want to recognize and show that we approve and appreciate property rights. Far too long in this country, property rights are being eroded, they're being taken away, and they're being wasted. If there were a public safety issue, we're 4 years down the road and nowhere closer to getting it resolved, as I understand. I understand how busy city councils are, and I'm not being critical, but in terms of public safety, that's 4 years down the road. When you read the statute, it says the city council shall. It does not say the city council may. It does not say the city council can. It says the city council shall, unless it is detrimental to the public health, safety, and welfare. I believe that's what the statute says. When you look at the point out to you when we did speak, the legislative history shows that language was changed to be more favorable to the property owner. I think sometimes we forget about farmers as property owners. We've had generations of farmland on this piece of property, and we really didn't truly appreciate and recognize the value of farming until recently with COVID. I think COVID brought farming back to all of our attention and how serious it is. I don't know how I can emphasize enough how important it is that, well, I guess to put it in an old phrase, that you as a council exercise some profiles in courage. That you say, we are going to protect property rights, we're going to respect property rights. We know that the legislature said if the county approves it, you shall do so likewise, unless it's a public health safety hazard. I have heard no evidence, and I don't know where the evidence has come from about the public safety issue. The only evidence you now have is the fact that I've told you in the last 20 or 25 years there have been 2 accidents on that road. 2. And they did not result in serious injuries. There have been more accidents than that on the railroad. My clients are farmers who have been in this community for a long time. They've worked hard, they've participated in this community, they've participated in Banks County. They've tried to be good corporate citizens, they've tried to be good farming citizens, they've tried to be good neighbors. I don't know how I can emphasize enough that I implore you to consider very carefully and to grant their de-annexation request. It is a property right. There's no evidence whatsoever that I know of, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I've heard nobody come here and say that is a safety hazard. I've heard nobody come in and say it's a danger to the public. I've heard nobody come in here and say anything other than it needs to be repaired, and the engineering report describes that it needs to be repaired. But there are several options, and I don't know that the reference from the city manager to option C has anything to do with this. I'm guessing that it does. And I don't know when those conversations took place. We've not been made privy to that. Finally, just for the record, I want to make sure we preserve the constitutional challenge. I want to make sure that we have raised our objection to you entering into executive session, because we don't think it's justified in executive session, because I don't know of any threat to litigation. I know that there's an issue raised as to a constitutional challenge. I hope you guys will do the right thing. The right thing is to grant this request. And the right thing is to exercise some courage and say, you know, these folks have property rights too. And these folks want to de-annex, and we're going to grant it. Because if the safety issue is the only issue you're faced with, that's been a long time coming. This is 4 years down the road. So I don't believe it is an immediate safety issue, and I believe you have some alternatives. Thank you for your allowing me to speak. I respectfully request that you grant the de-annexation for all 10 parcels and exercise some courage.
Just a couple of things to fix them. I did send to you the map with the options, and that's the option C that was referenced.
Okay.
And that council has been discussing.
And when did they discuss that? I didn't know they were having a discussion.
Well, you just acknowledged that it was discussed at this meeting, and obviously those same maps were provided to council, and they've had those options available. It's been discussed. We had a special work session where the engineer came and discussed the series of options and again added other options. But there's frankly been meetings over the last 4 years while the engineer updated council based upon the report. And I believe we also sent a recent update from the engineer to that report, essentially saying it's not getting any better and a decision will have to be
We
made.
have to April this year.
You did, and thank you for doing that. My question is, has there been any option C discussed since the Griffins made their request?
Yes,
And when was that done? I didn't recognize it, other than what we've talked about today.
other than what we've talked about here, that was when it was discussed, which was as an option available for Railroad Avenue, went through every option.
Okay, and was that discussed at a public meeting?
It was at a public meeting.
And when was that?
I don't recall. the
But this
specific
year.
April
date.
15th.
Okay, thank you very much.
You can, but you don't have to. They made that request.
I make a motion that we proceed with voting by parcel, and we'll just call out each parcel to approve or deny. So, well, I need to make a motion for each parcel.
Yes.
Okay. So, I'll make a motion that, I'll make a motion regarding parcel B01006, regarding the request for de-annexation. So I'll make a motion that we vote on that parcel now.
What's your motion?
My motion is that we take a vote to, that they're requesting to de-annex, so we approve or deny that, de-annexation request.
So your motion to deny that request on that portion?
I'll make a motion, I'll make a motion,
You understand what you're saying here?
yeah, we gotta get it right. Yeah, I make a motion that we deny the request to de-annex parcel B01006. That motion again is to deny the de-annexation request for B01006.
Get a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Tony, second by Denise, to deny the annexation B01006. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
Votes 3-2. Motion carries.
I make a motion to approve the de-annexation for parcel B01006A2. That's a motion to approve the de-annexation request.
Get a second?
Second.
Motion made by Tony, second by Chris, to approve de-annexation of B01006A2. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Next.
I make a motion to deny the de-annexation request for the following parcel. B0101015. That is a motion to deny the request for de-annexation for B0101015.
Get a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Tony, second by Denise, to deny the annexation of B0101015. All opposed, denials, aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
Split 3-2. The motion carries. Next.
I make a motion to deny the request for de-annexation for the following parcel, B01017. Again, that is a motion to deny the request for de-annexation for B01017.
I get a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Tony, second by Denise, to deny de-annexation of Bill 1017. All in favor of denial, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
No.
I was not.
Thank you. It's 3-2 again. The motion is approved to deny. Next.
I make a motion to deny the request for de-annexation for the following parcel. B010126A. Again, that is B010126A.
Get a second?
I'll second that.
Motion by Tony, second by Juliet, to deny the annexation of Bill 10126A. All in favor of denial, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
No.
Motion to deny is approved. Next.
I make a motion to deny the request for de-annexation for the following parcel, B01026B. Again, that is a motion to deny the request for de-annexation on parcel B01026B.
Get a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Tony, second by Juliet, to deny the annexation of Bill 1026B. All in favor of denial, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
No. No.
It's not being annexed. Next.
I make a motion to approve the request for de-annexation for the following parcel, B01027. Again, that is a motion to approve the request for de-annexation for B01027.
I'll second.
Motion by Tony, second by Juliet, to approve the annexation of Bill 1027. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
I make a motion to approve the request for de-annexation for the following parcel, B010551. Again, that is a motion to approve the request for de-annexation for parcel B010551.
I'll second.
Motion by Tony, second by Denise, to approve de-annexation of Bill 10551. All opposed, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The annexation is approved.
I make a motion to approve the request for de-annexation for the following parcel, B010552. Again, that is a motion to approve the request for de-annexation, parcel B010552.
Get a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Tony, second by Denise, to approve the annexation of Bill 10552. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
There is an additional parcel that, while it was approved by Banks County, I believe there's a discrepancy where we did not receive a request for this specific parcel. But given the fact that the request for de-annexation, has been made, we'd like to, as council, include this, whether you do a formal request for the de-annexation or not, we still can vote for approving a de-annexation request of this particular parcel, should that materialize. Is that fair to say, Joey?
Yes, sir. It would be deemed substantial compliance as to B010006A1, given that the other 9 were submitted, even though it was not submitted to the city. It was submitted to Banks County, and then Banks County forwarded that to the city.
So I'll make a motion that council approve any de-annexation of the following parcel. B01006A1. Again, that's approval, a motion to approve any de-annexation request involving parcel B01006A1.
I'll second.
Motion made by Tony, second by Juliet, to approve the annexation of parcel BL 1006106A1 potentially. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. I think that satisfies our annexation request.
Mayor and council, as you heard, that was mentioned by council for the requesters, and under this code section, in order to deny a de-annexation request, the council must acknowledge and state the public safety reason that you deny that request. I don't recall hearing that in the motion, but would ask of council that public safety basis for any denial that you just approved.
I make a motion that for each denial of a de-annexation request that we have just discussed, that it include denial reasons stated as public safety.
I'll second.
Motion made by Tony, second by Juliet, to amend the denials based upon public safety, potential public safety to deteriorate road conditions of Railroad Avenue.
Excellent.
All opposed say aye.
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 All opposed say no.
You accepted the mayor's comment about the road issues as part of that motion and the second and the vote.
Correct. I'm accepting the mayor's additional comment regarding adding the reason for the de-annexation denials as public safety for the conditions of the potential public safety issues related to road conditions.
Okay. Lula Belton, Society would like to, get Veterans Recognition and Hot Dog Bar at the Depot and over on 9th. We can discuss that in the next. We got several months in office. And the historical society meeting is the fourth Monday of the month. Depot, which is
Number 10 was about Lula ladies for the hot dogs.
That needs to be corrected. That's Lula
It's
ladies.
on ours.
It's about Lula
Oh,
ladies,
okay.
not the historical
Okay.
society.
Yeah, it's on Lula Lake.
okay. That's not what mine says.
So you would need a motion to approve that date.
I make a motion that we go ahead and vote on it and approve the November 9th date for the Little Ladies for the Veterans.
I'll second.
Motion by Denise, second by Juliet, to approve the request for new ladies for a veteran recognition hot dog bar at the Depot, November 9th. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Now then, the historical society meets on the fourth Monday, which is the
G4.
24th. And the fall festival will be the 28th September. All right, the New Ladies Monthly Dinner is Wednesday the 26th at noon for lunch and 6:30 for dinner. The Carter Valley Redevelopment Steering Committee, called the PAC Committee, will be, the next meeting will be 6 p.m. July 9th. Meeting Rocket program is going on every Monday during the summer, June and July, except the first Monday of July 1st. There'll be no, right. Thursday, July 4th, city office is closed for the holiday. And time now for citizen comments.
let me make a comment on this situation with the subdivisions. As we know, it is a mistake. People, when they buy property, it should be chiseled in stone. I'm glad that, things coincide for a reason, and the councilman speaking up here before, our property rights are being eroded in this country. And this is another perfect example of it, that we bought lots with setbacks in place that have never should have been changed unless we requested them to be changed. I can acknowledge that this was a mistake that probably nobody on any city administration wants to admit they made a mistake, and I can understand that. But I think what needs to be done, what I hit on before, that a different agricultural zoning should have been created that left those setbacks in place. And I do feel the council should vote on giving an immediate variance, not the regular variance, but a variance while they get the issues fixed, that anybody like my neighbors here that wish to do stuff to their property are allowed to do it while these zoning issues are fixed on a city level with creating a different zoning where subdivisions were already developed, where setbacks were into place. And I think that's a really good common ground. Nobody has to admit they did something wrong, but it gets a chance to fix something that don't seem right. That those lots were bought, and on the subdivision plats, as we start looking at it in these, those setbacks are listed. And we should have been the one to ask for them to be changed. It should have been targeted on the large tracts and not on small subdivision tracts. Granted, it should have never been allowed, but it was. It was allowed. And therein lies the problem. It was allowed on agricultural property, and the setbacks were in place. The houses are built to those setbacks. It should just be fixed where people like my neighbors should be able to do what they want to do immediately without having to go through 60-day, 90-day variances, that there's a moratorium in place while the city fixes it, and these two guys can be busy fixing it instead of looking for ways to why we're doing it. To fix it, just fix it. Just simple as that. Revert it back, I don't know. Change the zoning, work on the zoning creation that all towns do. Different stages of agricultural can be created to allow the subdivision zoning that is in place now, not for future subdivisions, but that the subdivisions that were affected to be corrected. And that gives everybody a good medium playing field. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Anybody else?
I spoke on it earlier a little bit about the minutes. I'd like to actually ask a question. Why are there no minutes on your website or not available to the public?
They're available through an operator request at City Hall. They are.
Well,
We don't have enough staff to fully update our website every day or every week.
Okay.
But they are available here at City Hall. You have to come and ask for them.
Well, they're not, because I did ask for them. There's no minutes from August of 22 to now.
There's a notebook full of right in here.
Well, then you need to update your staff and tell them that, because they were not able to provide me any minutes. We have them on YouTube, but not in writing. Because according to Georgia Municipal Association, the minutes should be signed off and are supposed to be posted at the city's website.
I just had him copy tonight, last month's meeting right there. That's a copy of me from last month's meeting. I just signed it here to him.
Okay.
They're in the book back in here at City Hall.
Cool deal. I'll be asking for the 19th then. And also, I'm going to parrot what Robert said. Is there any way we could bring a motion to vote on setbacks?
It's on our working agenda already. We have a whole list of them we're addressing. We're already working on that problem right here. It's not just yours. There's a whole list of them. We're getting together as a council and working on these. It's an ongoing process. It's not happening overnight.
Clearly not. It's taken 3 months. All right. Well, I guess that's all I got. We'll beat this dead horse in the ground another day.
Thank you. Anybody else?
How y'all doing? Tim Van Tassel, 6443 Narrowmore Way. I just like to ditto what Robert said. We'd like to get our setbacks put back the way they used to be. Simple, fix the mistake, and everybody will be happy. Appreciate it, y'all.
Anybody else? All right, Mordecai, it's time for your turn.
All righty, thank you. I want to talk about what we need to discuss. We need to review and discuss the things that have taken place the first 6 months of the year of 2024. What plans, if any, do you have for the last 6 months of this year? We citizens would appreciate it if one member, any member of the council would give us a statement of what we can expect for growth and development in Lula in the near future. We know that you have the ability, training, the education to do this. And we are anxious to listen to what you have to say. We citizens greatly depend on our elected officials in any capacity that they serve to have the training, the expertise to be able to tell us where we have been and what has been accomplished in the past and where we are headed now, and above all, where no change can happen. We citizens want all of our officials, whether elected, appointed, or serving in other capacity, to be honest and truthful about every situation or plan you undertake. But since no one is perfect, there could be a little thievery in all of us as we go through life trying to make a living for ourselves one way or another. One other question that we have to ask ourselves is, are we giving only a portion of our time to the task that has been assigned to us? Perhaps we need to spend more time at the work that is at hand. Please give this a thought, because this can be an important question each one of us needs to carefully consider as we go about our daily tasks. We must realize, no matter what seems to be happening now, a transfer of power can be coming. What all of us should have, regardless of who we may be, is to have unshakable faith. We hope to make Lula, Georgia, a city where all of us can live in peace, safety, and prosperity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mordecai. All right, council, let's start with you there tonight.
Thank you. Not that it's not impossible to follow Tony, but I did want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I know there were some decisions made tonight that there are going to be some people who are unhappy with, but trust me when I say no decision is made lightly. Every decision is thought out very carefully. And there's a lot of times we spend time thinking about these and working on these outside of what you actually see here. So please understand they're not made lightly. And then also, if anybody would like to come to the Historical Society meeting on the 24th, everybody is welcome. Chris?
Same thing, I'd like to thank everybody for coming and kind of mirror her statement. Want everybody to know that the council as a whole took everything serious and really struggled over some of these decisions. So nothing was taken lightly. But you know, everybody, we have different opinions, but we all want the best for the city, and we're all working in our best way towards that.
I want to thank everyone for coming out, and I'll just echo what they said, that the decisions aren't made lightly, and we have to take the city as a whole into consideration when we're making some of them, and it makes it hard because we feel for you. You're our neighbors, and we understand. Sorry. It was hard. Tonight was really hard. So don't think that we sit up here and some of the decisions we make are easy, because it does get emotional, because you are our neighbors, and we feel, and we can't always look at it just as you being our neighbor when we're making some of the decisions, though. I just lost my train of thought. Sorry. It gets to me, and I'm sorry. Anyway, with that being said, thank y'all for coming out, and I hope y'all have a wonderful week. The weather's supposed to be great.
Again, I'll just want to thank everyone, for showing up. It's great to see people involved in coming to these meetings. We certainly need, people's input. To Mr. Hall, making an expression on the minutes, I couldn't agree more. I've made that statement before I was elected. I've made the requests for the same reasons. I know that we have some staffing issues, and I have asked for it on multiple occasions, but, knowing that we have other work, and believe me, that's not something that's insignificant, but I've had to prioritize other issues than to continuously, reiterate that fight. But I couldn't agree more. And I know that, minutes are available, so if you're told that they can't give them to you, then that's wrong and incorrect, and we'll work to rectify that and make sure that the minutes are made available. Not only that, but made available on the website. I'm just going to take that as a personal to-do for this next month. So I'll do that. Regarding Mordecai, thank you for your statements, Mordecai. We enjoy those all the time, each meeting, and we thank you for speaking up and keeping us honest. Having served, that a lot of times we get distracted. And I'm glad that you're there to remind us of what's important. And I did speak with you last week, and I thank you for that opportunity. And I know one of the things you requested is being able to provide, not necessarily transparency, but more visibility of what's actually happening that may not be on our agendas that we have. Because I know, our committees meet often, throughout the month, and there are things that just aren't ready for a vote, and so what you'll see is if there's discussions on a work session, it's come to a point where it's more finalized, where we want to get it on an agenda for a vote. But there are many things that we discuss in committee meetings that just aren't on the agendas. Sometimes it's actions that we request of staff, and they just go ahead and execute on those things that don't require a vote. It's more operational. So know that our committee meetings are public as well. I know that they are posted on our door out front. Then to address the one item that everyone has made statements of, this was a very difficult decision night for us, and it really was. I know that 4 members on council also sit with agricultural land, and we enjoy that space. We enjoy agriculture and farms, and so we certainly agree with what you guys are requesting. And I hope that in the future, and in the near future, that a request for every single one of those parcels that was denied is no longer an issue. But as of right now, it is an issue, and it is a public safety issue. But I'm hoping that here in the near future that changes, and that will all come from our discussions with the railroad, Norfolk Southern. Because we all on council would like to see a retention wall built, and the road that we need to ensure that public safety is built right where the road is today. And it doesn't need any easements further onto anyone else's property. That's what we hope for. And that's what we're pushing for. that wasn't being pushed for before. That's what we're trying to do. So I just wanted to say that, and thank you for allowing me to go a little bit long. Thankfully, I didn't go as long as I did one other night, but I do want to end it there. But thank you so much for coming out, and I hope that you will continue to do so. So thank you.
You reminded me. I just totally lost my train of thought. I wanted to let everyone know, when we were voting on the electrical money for the building, that is a building that's been put down in the park to extend Wi-Fi within the park area. I don't know if a lot of you are aware of that, but that's what, there's a block building. If you go down to the park, you'll see a block building's been built. And so we're working on putting the electrical in there, and that'll house Wi-Fi. It won't be very broad to begin with, but we hope to expand on that to where there's Wi-Fi available all throughout the park. Just to touch base on, that's one project that we've got going. And I asked Dennis earlier about quotes on sidewalks, so we're also working on the streetscapes, extending the sidewalk from downtown to the parks. So that's another project that we've got going on. Just to give y'all a little update.
I want to thank everybody being here, the council, making a tough decision. And I hope it hasn't. Everybody have a good week this week. We'll see you next month. Thank you. Motion adjourned.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion by Chris, second Denise to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. No one's already there.
I was